What up, y'all? It's your guy Dawson from D&D TV. Thank you for rating, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody who's donated, those of you all who will, you know I appreciate it. All that information is in the description box below. Also, make sure you go over to my other YouTube channel, Dawson Speaks TV. Make sure you subscribe over there. And when you subscribe, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you get notifications when I drop a new video. Now let's get into this topic. Now, I know y'all saying, Dawson, where have you been? Yes, I had to take a little sabbatical. Y'all know when I take time off from YouTube, I don't do any stories. I just sit back, do research, meditate, spend time with my creator, and just sit back and watch other videos. And that's what I've been doing these couple of weeks. And it's just funny to me because a lot of people say, oh, you're doing this and you're doing that. And I appreciate all the comments, good, bad, and indifferent. But do you all know how many stories have come out within the past couple of weeks that I have not done videos? And it's so sad because if I wanted to, and if any other content creators, any vloggers wanted to, you could do videos every day on the insane issues and situations that are going on in these religious institutions. And a lot of times it's draining because I just don't believe that I'm talking to ignorant people. I do believe that in 2019 and beyond that we have people who will stand up for themselves and for their family members, and especially your children. But some of us, we don't have those people. We have people who love their church so much, and they love their pastor so much, and they love the prophetess of all prophets so much that you will let these people do anything to you and your family in order to have a sense of belonging. And because you all want such a sense of belonging, half of y'all belong in jail. And I'm one of those vloggers who are going to make sure that the truth gets out so we can put some of y'all in jail who allow these children to be put in situations where they are abused. Now let's get into this topic. The coordinator of a Buffalo Urban Review Agency crime prevention initiative has been arraigned on sexual abuse charges. The Erie County District Attorney's Office says that Pastor Antwan Diggs, 50 years old, was arraigned before a Buffalo City court judge. He faces charges of first-degree criminal sexual act, first-degree sexual abuse, both felonies, and a misdemeanor count of forcible touching. It is alleged that on August 19, 2019, at approximately 2:30 p.m., the defendant engaged in sexual contact with another person by forcible compulsion at a location in the city of Buffalo, according to the DA. It is also further alleged that the defendant forcibly touched the victim and subjected the victim to sexual contact by forcible compulsion. A no-contact order has been issued on the victim's behalf. Wow. Now, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let you all watch these videos, and I will be back with the rest of my commentary. And you all know me, I'm Dawson, and I won't hold back.
Buffalo employee has been arrested on sex abuse charges. Antwan Diggs has worked as a city program coordinator in crime prevention for the past 15 years, working with youth. News 4's Marley Tuskus has been looking into what happened to these charges tonight. Marley?
Don, Erie County District Attorney John Flynn wouldn't discuss the specifics of this case as a way to shield the victim's identity. But he says Antwan Diggs is facing 3 charges: 1 count of criminal sexual act, 1 count sexual abuse, and 1 count of forcible touching, all stemming from an incident that happened back in August.
It doesn't matter what your status is in this community. If you commit a crime, you will be prosecuted.
According to Erie County District Attorney John Flynn, City of Buffalo employee Antwan Diggs was arrested on charges of criminal sexual act, forcible touching, and sexual abuse. 2 felonies and a misdemeanor, all alleging, again, out of 1 incident that occurred on August 19th, 2019, with the forcible, basically sexual contact of another person. For 15 years, Diggs has worked as the city's program coordinator for the Community Crime Prevention Initiative, working with the city's youth. Flynn wouldn't give details on the incident, only that it happened within the city of Buffalo. He also would not say anything that could identify the victim, including if he or she was involved in the program that Diggs led.
You never want to see people that you interact with get involved in cases, especially something like this where it's a sex crime. So yes, it is disturbing. It's not something that's easily forecasted, but I think it speaks to, as DA Flynn said, it doesn't matter who you are, what your position is with the city. If an allegation is made, it's going to get thoroughly investigated, as this one did.
Diggs has 2 prior felony convictions. A spokesperson with the DA's office says they couldn't say what those are for ethical reasons. According to his bio with the city, Diggs, who was originally from the Philadelphia area, came to Buffalo through a prison ministry. Part of his mission has been to keep young people from repeating his mistakes. He was arrested at the church where he is also a pastor and arraigned in court on Tuesday. No bail was set because of those prior convictions.
These allegations are disturbing, but thankfully we were able to get him in custody today and allow the criminal charges to play out now in court.
A spokesperson with the city tells News 4 Diggs has been placed on paid administrative leave effective immediately.
A city employee who's facing sex abuse charges for assaulting a teenage boy. A judge arraigned Antwan Diggs yesterday. News 4's Katie Alexander has been digging into the court records and joins us with the very latest this afternoon. Katie.
Well, Antwan Diggs is being held without bail for now since he had 2 previous felony convictions. Mayor Byron Brown says Diggs' criminal record was known when he was hired by the city years ago.
The city has a program of working with returning citizens, helping people to turn their lives around and return to the community. I was hired before I began as mayor of the city of Buffalo, and we kept the individual employed.
50-year-old Antwan Diggs worked for the city since at least 2001 and was most recently program coordinator for the city's BURA Community Crime Prevention Initiative. He also served as pastor of Hananiah Lutheran Church and as president of the Western New York Prisoner Reentry Coalition. Part of his work with the city put him in contact with teens.
He did work with youth in the summer as part of some of the crime prevention programs he was working on.
Now he's charged with first-degree criminal sexual act, first-degree sexual abuse, and forcible touching.
2 felonies and a misdemeanor, all alleging, again, out of one incident that occurred on August 19th, 2019.
According to court documents, that was when Diggs and a male victim were at the Courtyard Hotel near Canalside, and Diggs began rubbing the victim's private parts. The victim says Diggs ordered him to get naked, but he refused and pulled away several times. Ultimately, though, he says he did undress and was forced to perform oral sex on Diggs. Diggs was arrested at his church Tuesday morning. Mayor Byron Brown called the allegations shocking.
Charge is very serious. It is in the legal process now. We'll see what comes of that process.
We're told Diggs has been placed on paid administrative leave. He could face up to 25 years in prison if he's convicted on all charges. Reporting live, Katie Alexander, News 4.
All right, y'all, let's go in. Now, Pastor Antwan Diggs never shied away from telling his employers, friends, congregants, reporters, and the youth he mentored that he once was homeless and a drug addict who ended up in prison twice. And he often told the story of how he turned his life around in part through a halfway house and began working with the city of Buffalo's Weed and Seed program in 2001, steering youth away from a life of crime. 18 years later, he was the program's coordinator of the city's Community Crime Prevention Initiative, helping 50 to 70 young people every summer with job training and workforce development. The married father of 2 was also a pastor at a local church. Take a breath. I said the married father of 2 was also a pastor at a local church in Buffalo, New York. So it came as a shock to many when Pastor Diggs was arrested and charged with sexually assaulting a 17-year-old boy downtown in a Buffalo, New York hotel. Now, it is unclear how Pastor Diggs meant the boy. Diggs has been placed on administrative leave, and we heard that in the news clipping, from his job at City Hall. And the mayor is doing a big cleanup job. The mayor wants you all to know, as he told reporters after the arrest, that the city knew Diggs went to prison for a New York City robbery. And he said, "We certainly are aware of his prior convictions, but we want you all to know that none of his prior convictions had anything to do with youth, so there was no concern." And the mayor also went further to say, and you all heard in the news clippings, that Pastor Diggs was put in that position in City Hall before the mayor came to office. So he's basically trying to cover himself and saying, look, y'all had this man in office before I came here, so don't mess up me, running next year or whenever the next election is. Mayor Brown is trying to straighten out his name, which I understand. Now, Pastor Diggs has a very active Facebook page, and I was able to look at his Facebook page, and Pastor Diggs' Facebook page is filled with photos of young people he worked with doing yard work and also teaching them about crime prevention. That's what his main job was at City Hall, to help the youth, and there are tons of pictures on his Facebook page of him doing that, if it's still up, because when this stuff gets out, they try to clean up everything, try to make everything look all nice and hide evidence. But the night before his arrest, he posted a Bible verse on Facebook, and that said, Paul said, "Some indeed preach Christ. Preacher, what do you preach?" Now, there are several articles about this online, and I want you all to go read them yourself. And the DA was even talking, and in one article, they said that they believe Pastor Diggs may be a flight risk. So I want you all to look up this story, because people think I just make this stuff up, and y'all do your research on this. But I want to say this. Why I will continue to speak out on things like this is because I know how it feels by being in church and having been in churches where there were sexual allegations about people and churches we affiliated with, and how that was swept under the rug, especially when it came to big name bishops and pastors and people in the church. And because the congregants did not want to deal with, not my pastor. My pastor could, no, not the prophetess. No, she touched me and we spoke in tongues and we held hands and they did my grandma's funeral and they was there when my granddaddy died. We don't want to believe that these people can be flawed or that they could do something as horrible as this. Many of us don't. We put on so-called, I got my spiritual blinders on. Well, you need to take those spiritual blinders off when it comes to things that affect you and your family members, especially your children. I will continue to speak on these issues. You all know when you see Dawson and Denise and Dawson speak, you know what time it is. We don't sip tea over here. We don't spill it. We eat truth. And the truth is going to set all of us free, that we can go forth and live an abundant life. Now, I know some of you all going to say, Dawson, what about his wife? Do you think she knew? And you all know how I feel about that, because some of you feel the same way. In many of these cases that I have done, some of these women know what's going on with their husbands. And because they are silent on the issue, they become complicit to what's going on. Now I'm off this subject. It's all on Google. You got the information. Look it up yourself. But protect yourself and your family. Go off in the comments. Let me know what you think. Love yourself and each other. And we love you. Peace.